dumb or don't say a word. Move my head around like a startled bird. Can't do housework when I choose. When I win, I convince myself I lose. Fabric feels weird against my skin. I gotta hold my breath when I take out the bin. Can't go out cause it's too hot and bright. I can't sleep at night cause there's too much light. The bees in my brain won't let me speak. My thought process is quite unique. The mask comes off and now I'm weird. Everything is as I feared. Living in this world can be quite a chore. We've all had enough, but we still want more. Leave me alone, I don't want interference. Hey, not mate, that's the autistic experience.
Hello and welcome to the Autistic Experience, your one-stop shop podcast for all things neurodivergent news, commentary and all sorts of other general weirdness that happens to go into our brains when we start speaking. Hi, thanks for joining us. My name is Kieran, as always joined by Chloe.
Hey.
Now, we're going to put this out there. We mentioned last week that we've been travelling this week because we've had a busy week and we are not in our usual base at the moment, so things might sound a little bit different. We've got our portable
studio.
Our portable studio we're recording with today, so I'll try and make things not sound so different, but just in case there is a slight difference, that's why. Also, that's why this episode will be a little bit shorter than normal.
We can aim for that. We can hope.
We can hope, because I don't have as much time to edit as I normally would. So the less we record, the less I have to edit. So let's just end things there. Bye.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. There is still some level of structure to this show, so how about we jump into home news?
Ba-da-boo.
So, where do we begin for this week?
I don't know.
Well, the reason we've been travelling this week is we've gone back to my hometown to go to my sister's wedding.
Woohoo!
Woo. I think, the wedding was quite good fun, actually. It was quite quiet. So it was quite a small wedding, so it wasn't like a big, busy thing.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah,
It wasn't like a big drunken party.
No, the reception was somewhat busier and more excitable, but because my sister is kind of also, I'm sure she wouldn't mind me mentioning this, she was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder many years ago, but now is, I think, probably on the back of me getting diagnosed as autistic and also you investigating yourself and seeing how it presents in women, she's also following the idea, because, like, as we know, like, autism in women is so commonly misdiagnosed as stuff like BPD or generalized anxiety disorder, or all sorts of other various things before they land on autism.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things they decided to do was, at the reception, set aside an area, like in the basement, a room to escape to if things got too busy or too noisy. And so at one point in the evening, I did end up just popping down there when everything got too noisy and there started explosions going off and and all sorts. So yeah, got to go and escape, and there were cakes and drinks.
Board games,
yeah, nice quiet.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. So a general wedding tip, I guess, have an escape room, not that sort of escape room, a room to escape to, or like a safe room. Yeah, that works. Have like a quiet room.
I mean, an escape room would be cool as well, but
yeah,
a quiet room.
Yeah, but I mean, if you consider what you were like in the last escape room we did, that's not necessarily the least stressful experience you could have.
No, it's not.
No.
I'd put it up there as one of the most, but anyway.
Yeah. And then earlier today, we went over to Jimmy's farm in Suffolk, where they have a new polar bear, which was rescued from a Scandinavian zoo, I believe.
Yeah, I think a bear sanctuary that closed down. So they rescued Mum, and I was reading about it earlier, actually. Mum and her child were rescued, but the child had like an enlarged heart, they found. So because of the stress of the move, the younger one didn't make it, sadly, but Mum did, and she's doing quite well, I think, in what is the second largest polar bear enclosure in Europe, which is pretty good.
Yeah. And they're working on getting a brown... Is it a brown bear?
Brown bear, yeah, called Diego.
Yeah, I think he's hanging out in Devon or Cornwall for winter while he hibernates.
Yeah.
And then they'll bring him over in the spring.
Yeah. Also, it's temporary while they build his enclosure.
Yeah, they've got to build it as well.
But they are raising money for that as well, so please contribute if you can to save Diego.
Yeah. Is that more or less it for home news?
Yeah, I'd just like to shout out briefly because I've learnt today that doesn't everyone agree, right, that horses have such beautiful mouths? Like, just sensory-wise. Aren't their mouths just beautiful?
I mean, they're a bit slobbery for my tastes.
They're not that slobbery.
They're not that slobbery, but still,
But they're just like really...
There is a level of slobber.
Soft, velvety, gentle mouths. And they just feel really nice when they eat out of your hand. And donkeys and that as well. Just appreciate the horse mouth. And their beautiful lips. That is all.
Okay. We'll move on to what would normally be neurodivergent news, but instead we're just going to look at the two big events happening this coming week. Mm-hmm. The first of which is Halloween. Ooh. Spookiness on the 31st. It's currently the 29th as this is going out, so it's Tuesday.
Ooh.
And I came across this post on the National Autistic Society website, which is autism.org.uk, and it was published on the 25th, and it's tips for an autism-friendly Halloween. So it's a fairly short read. It's not super in-depth, but it's got little tips of, creating your own Halloween fun. So there's having a spooky movie day and eat Halloween-themed foods. Dress up, stay indoors, and get some glow-in-the-dark toys to play with.
Mm.
So basically the idea is, as with anything, we need to try and make the events fit around us rather than make ourselves try and fit into the events.
Yeah.
So if we don't feel comfortable... I mean, trick-or-treating is not really so much a thing in the UK, but if we weren't comfortable going out and doing that sort of thing, or going to Halloween parties, for example, we shouldn't force ourselves, because there are all sorts of anxiety and sensory-based nightmares that go along with it.
Yeah.
Costume-wise especially, you don't have to dress up if you don't want to. And as this article says, you don't always have to actually fit in with a scary theme.
Yeah.
Just pick a costume that's comfortable or something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, my Halloween costumes have been video game characters or onesies.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and you also hate face paint, don't you?
Oh yeah, I hate face paint.
Spooky face paint would be a massive no-go for you.
Yeah, I also don't like having fake blood
on
me.
Yeah,
I'm much more comfortable with having real blood on me. I don't care about that, but fake blood, no.
I like the idea of putting maybe a nice sign outside just to ask that trick-or-treaters don't visit your house. Because, like you said, although it's less of a thing in the UK, sometimes it's still annoying when you get people knocking on the door and you just think, I don't want to open it, I don't want to talk to them.
I mean, there's enough anxiety when a doorbell rings anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Let alone, when you're actively trying to avoid people.
Yeah, and I'm I don't want to buy other people's children sweets just because they're knocking on my door.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, because I remember when we were younger, it's you close the curtains, turn the lights off, basically just pretend you're not in.
Yeah.
And that was like the evening.
I still remember the dread
Yeah.
of, even when I was younger, like Halloween night, and just thinking about possible trick-or-treaters and thinking, I hope nobody knocks on the door. And we used to get some occasionally, but it was like, ugh.
Yeah, it's just that level of anxiety.
Yeah.
I think that goes along with it. So I think at the very least, if you have a little sign saying, please don't,
Yeah.
then that will hopefully, get rid of some of that anxiety. I mean, it won't get rid of all of it until the night's over, because people are annoying and ignore signs.
Yeah.
But the important thing is to focus on just having a good time. If you want to do anything, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Like, it could just be a regular day for you if you want. Just hang out, have a good time.
Yeah, if you fancy, like, watching a film or something, you can, but, like, it doesn't have to be anything. Yeah. I mean, I personally like doing a bit of spooky bacon around Halloween, like a spooky-themed kind of biscuits or something, but that's kind of about it, really. Yeah. I might have a bit of a drink on Halloween night just because it's Halloween, but that's it.
Yeah, and as always, the important thing to remember is that you're the one who sets your own boundaries. So if you do end up going to like a Halloween party or a get-together or something, you can leave whenever you want. Yeah. You're not under any pressure to drink or to dance or to do anything you don't want to do or not comfortable doing.
And if you're going with people that accept you for that, then they won't make you anyway.
Yeah. But also earplugs.
Yeah.
That's going to be in our toolkit for the rest of time.
Yeah, earplugs to everything. Even if you don't think you might need earplugs, take earplugs.
Yeah. Because it'll be the one time you don't have them is the one time you need them.
Yes, I can attest to that.
But yeah, we'll let you know how our Halloween went next week.
Yeah.
See what we end up doing, because we will be back home by then.
Tune in for that.
Tune excitement. In for,
spooky excitement.
Yeah. Should we dress up?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I've got my Nightmare Before Christmas onesie somewhere in the house, so that'll be my costume.
Onesies were the option, yeah. So that's Halloween. So that's happening on Tuesday, the 31st. The same date as always, which is quite handy.
Funny that.
Yeah. However, one thing that does seem to shift dates or take up multiple dates in the UK, at the very least, is Bonfire Night.
Yes, the joys.
Yes, as the old saying goes, remember the 5th of November, but everyone else seems to forget because we end up with things going all week long.
Yeah.
So we end up with random explosions happening at any... Also, like, depending on where you live in the UK, because we live, in Manchester, there are various different religious festivals throughout the year.
Yeah.
They always seem to involve fireworks at about midnight.
Yeah.
And if you're not expecting them, which is most of the time if it's not Bonfire Night, it can be quite alarming.
Yes.
So, how do we deal with Bonfire Night? Well, I think one way to actually deal with it quite well is go to a display.
Yeah, I like go to a public display. Don't start setting off your own fireworks.
Go to a public one. But like we went to one last year and we'll go to it again, and it was a lot of fun. It was cold, it was busy, but like you kind of got really like visually overwhelmed because you started doing like the gaping mouth and the kind of quivering hands, and you're like,
yeah, that was how I like my childhood stimming that I don't do very often now. I got very like overwhelmed in a good way.
Yeah,
I was very overexcited.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the issues we have with sound, and I've mentioned this a couple of times before, I think, is to do with consent. Right? So if we go to a concert, for example, we know it's going to be noisy, but we want to go there. We've chosen to be there. Yeah. So it doesn't present much of a problem until we get home and our ears are still ringing.
Yeah.
But if you hear the same music through the neighbouring wall, then it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Because it's, it's the sound that is kind of invading your personal space, and that's what we don't like.
Yeah.
So if it's like a vampire. If we invite it in, then it's fine. Well, that's not how vampires work. But
No.
it's like the opposite of a vampire. Or, I don't know, Santa? There's no Santa. Santa doesn't work on consent, which is kind of strange.
So it's a vegetarian vampire.
It's a vegetarian vampire. Yeah, if you invite it in, it just brings hummus, I guess. What was I saying? Something about sound, yeah.
Sound and consent and vampires.
I think all of those analogies have completely failed, so we'll just... So basically, if you go to a fireworks display on Bonfire Night, then there are going to be so many other displays happening on that same night, because this year it's a Saturday, right? So that's when most of the displays are going to be, because it's happening on actual Bonfire Night and also on, like, not a school night.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for once we're going to have fewer displays this year, because usually they spread them out.
Yeah.
But if, as I said, if you actually go to one, if you choose to be part of it, then yeah, it's still going to be loud and noisy, but you're choosing to be there, so it won't like trigger that response in us.
Mm-hmm.
The other nights,
It's
maybe a bit more of an issue, but I think it's part of it is knowing or preparing for the fact that there will be other nights where there are random explosions.
Yeah, well, I think it's also the issue comes when it actually disturbs what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if it's early in the evening, I don't mind so much, but it's when people are setting off fireworks kind of late in the evening.
Yeah, like, or midnight,
Yeah,
1 a.m.
and you're just like, they must know that this is ridiculous now, because
Yeah.
this is just really inconsiderate to everybody else. That's when it gets on my
Yeah, because
nerves.
part of it is the actual noise, and then part of it is knowing there is someone behind it,
Yeah.
making the choice to do something like that inconsiderate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And another thing is that it's really stressful if you've got animals. So
Yeah.
when we've had guinea pigs in the house and people have been setting off fireworks for whatever reason, it can kind of stress them out, which fortunately with them being in the house is not as bad as if they're
Yeah.
in the garden. But like if you've got pets and, you know, fireworks are going off and it's everybody doing their own fireworks in their back garden all week, it can
Yeah.
be pretty stressful for them and for you.
Yeah, so I think, weirdly enough, I think a bit of good advice is the same for like our ears as it is for pets.
Mm.
Right, just general sensitive ears, in that you close all your windows
Mm-hmm.
and cover yourself in a nice thick blanket to kind of block out as much sound as possible. And also, Classic FM during bonfire season do play lots of pet-friendly music
Mm-hmm.
to kind of soothe the animals, and apparently it works really well.
Yeah.
So if you get that on your nice noise-cancelling headphones, have that underneath a blanket, then that should sort you pretty much.
Yeah. And another option, earplugs.
Yeah, also
always.
earplugs. Always earplugs.
But yeah, I mean, try and go to a public display, and if you know anybody that wants to do fireworks, I would say kind of advise people that you know to go to public displays as well.
Yeah.
Just because, like, setting off fireworks in your own back garden is not great for a long list of reasons. Yeah. So, you know, if you hear of anybody talking about it, maybe just try and encourage to go to a public display.
But I will say sparklers are a lot of fun.
Yeah. They're not so bad, are they, to have at home?
Yeah.
Quiet and
Quiet.
pretty.
They go shh.
Or, like, you could do things where you get, like, the kind of, like, torches or lights and take, like, pictures with them in the garden or something. Again, just quiet, but still fun.
Yeah.
You can still enjoy, like, the dark and, you know, go out and have some fun with lights and things, but it doesn't have to be explodey skylights.
Yeah. But I would say, as a practical thing, we were talking about preparing. If you have a quick Google or internet search for firework displays near you, then you'll at least have an idea of when they're happening,
Yeah.
when the big ones are going on.
Yeah.
And then you can just make a nice little list. So you're like, okay, or like set an alarm or something. They go, this is happening then, this is happening
Yeah.
then. So you at least know the windows rather than just being completely on guard.
Yeah, you can
throughout
make
the
sure
entire
you're
evening.
in the house and
Prepped.
bunkered up.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah, hot chocolate, headphones,
Yeah.
sorted.
They're really nice to go to. If you go to a nice public one and they've got a big bonfire and stuff, like, it can be really nice.
Yeah.
Because it's nice and warm, and, you know, I think fire is quite pretty. So
Yeah.
big bonfires and bright lights
Yeah.
in the sky, for me, is quite nice.
Well, if you're anything like me, take your earplugs, just stand next to the fire and just stare at it.
Yeah, feel the heat and watch the little flickers and the little sparky bits.
Yeah.
It's just really pretty, relaxing.
But I think that's probably where we should call it for our truncated episode of The Autistic Experience. You can always go follow us on Instagram while you're not listening to us, which is at The Autistic Experience. We're also on YouTube now.
Woo!
So this episode will be available to listen/watch on there if you are so inclined to listen to it again, I guess. We're doing this bit at the end, which is not the best idea, as it turns out. But hey, what are we, forward thinkers? No.
Hindsight is our friend.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we still got a couple of days to go until both Halloween and Bonfire Night. So if you have your own tips or strategies, then feel free to go onto our Instagram page again, which is at The Autistic Experience, and comment on the post, which should have gone out about now, or sometime this afternoon, depending on how busy we are. We might be driving at this point.
Yeah.
So comment on the show post with your own tips or strategies, just to share them with whoever else might be reading it. Because, you know, we share information, everyone wins.
Yeah.
But for now, I think it's about time we head off. We've got quite a lot of driving to do.
Yeah.
And we have a boot full of cheese that we need to get back to Manchester post haste.
Cheese and charcuterie.
Cheese and charcuterie, because we went and got that free lunch.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Once again.
Yeah.
Tune in next week for extra long episode to make up for a short one this week.
Oh, I hope not. I hope not.
Where we tell you in great detail about our adventures at the wedding and the farm. Bye.
Bye.
I'll tell you about every single horse lip that I felt.
And all the pigs.
Yeah.